It is Friday. We are back. This is eXhuming the X-Files here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. Hit that like and subscribe if you enjoy listening to us talk about the X-Files. My name is Matthew. I'm joined once again by Jeremy.
Hey, everybody.
And we are getting to the end of season 5. We've only got, I think, 4 more episodes after this till we get to the big finale. And then right after that, of course, is the movie, Fight the Future. It'll be very, very fun to talk about and discuss. But before we get there, we have another kind of, I don't know if you'd call this a Monster of the Week episode. I guess you would technically consider it in that category. We're talking Mind's Eye, episode 16, directed by Kim Manners, written by Tim Minear. Now, I did have a very strong recollection of this episode from when I saw it in the 90s, and I really remember the subjective camera. There is a movie called Peeping Tom that came out. I think it was in late 50s. It's about this dude who's got a camera, and he's got this long kind of like ice pick sort of thing that sticks out from it, and he films women, and he actually like stabs them to death and captures their death screams on camera as they're dying. Very, very cool movie. And this reminded me of that movie from when what I saw when I was a kid in high school. I think I rented that Nebraska Land Video. It was on the shelf in horror. Peeping Tom, folks, go check that out. It's an interesting movie. Did you have any recollection of Mind's Eye?
No, not at all.
Okay,
Nothing that happened in this episode popped up in my brain.
okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and get into it. What is Mind's Eye all about?
It starts with a gal coming home to her apartment after dark, of course, because everything on X Files is now shot after dark.
Yeah.
And she tries to watch some TV, sitting there smoking. And then all of a sudden, she starts hallucinating what looks to be a coke deal that has gone bad. Um, there's violence. There's a what, briefcase full of coke in it. There's some drug dealer that's like, get away from me. And then all of a sudden, it cuts over to a couple of cops kicking down an apartment door. They see that there's a dead body on the floor. They go into the shower, and there she is standing there, just hanging out behind the shower curtain with a giant sponge in her hand. And she looks, just coked out of her mind.
Yeah.
Like, just pupils just super duper wide, or she's blind. And she drops the sponge, and they arrest her, and that's the title screen.
Yep. He's like, oh my God, she's blind, or something like that. Just shining that light right in her face. All right, your thoughts on the cold open?
I didn't care, but I I was ready to see more. Was it the best title screen that I've ever seen? No. But yeah, I'm sure it'll go somewhere, right? Surely it
Yeah.
has to.
I mean, we're going to continue on the past few episodes of disagreeing on things because I actually like this cold open. I thought this was a very cool, interesting hook. Um, I guess I didn't initially when it started, I didn't get the idea that she was blind. So when it actually, when she's got the sponge and she's doing that stuff, when it turns around, it's like she's blind. I'm like, oh, okay, she's kind of like seeing like visions of the killer or whatever, which has been done in horror before. But for whatever reason, I sort of dig that thing. I like the idea that you're kind of like seeing through the eyes of a murderer or whatever it is. And so yeah, I dug this. I thought this was kind of cool. I don't know why she had that sponge and she was kind of trying to clean everything up. I was confused about that, but I liked it.
And does the explanation ultimately, without really giving anything away, the explanation for why she had that sponge in her hand, does it ever really make sense?
No.
Okay. Sponge. Um Why Mulder and Scully was brought in on this case, I'll never know. They don't even attempt to address it. They're just talking to a prosecutor, or not even a prosecutor, like this kind of goofy black cop detective guy,
He's just a detective, yeah.
and she's been blind since birth, and they're blaming her anyway because according to the cop, she has some sort of weird sixth sense about things. There's a familiarity between this cop and this lady that just doesn't make any sense to me in the episode. Because is she just getting like busted on the regular doing blind crimes or something, and this guy's just been waiting to snap the jaws of justice shut on her or something?
Yeah, they mentioned she's got this huge rap sheet. I thought it was because they can't pin anything on her. Like they could never actually pin any of this stuff on her, and he's just getting super super frustrated because he the detective believes that she is doing all of this stuff. Um, and I just kind of I guess making that leap of logic of like why are Mulder and Scully involved in this case. I guess at this point, I just kind of, if I'm filling in the blanks where the writers fail us, I'm just thinking, look, Mulder and Scully's reputation is out there. Everybody knows they investigate weird shit. And so, they're on speed dial to the FBI. Anytime anyone needs help, like, hey, you guys investigate weird shit. You have experience with weird shit. Can you come help out with my weird shit? So,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. They've been on television. Patient X from a couple of episodes ago, she recognized Mulder out of the Dwayne Barry debacle. So okay,
Yeah.
I guess I can accept that. Um, but Mulder in classic Mulder style that has nothing to do with the previous two episodes that we had watched about the alien conspiracy. He does what he does best and immediately just jumps to a conclusion that she had nothing to do
Yep.
with anything that has been going on. Also, I noticed that she looks like the older sister of the Eve 6 twins.
Oh, yeah.
Like really close to how they look.
Lily Taylor's a fairly notable character actor as well. She's been in a ton of stuff. So, did you recognize her when you saw this actress from anything?
Not really.
Okay.
I mean, one of those people that you're like, okay, I've seen that person before, but
Like I think most people would recognize her most recently from the Conjuring movie. Like she was the mom in the Conjuring.
I actually haven't seen that movie, man.
Oh, okay.
All these movies you keep bringing up, and I'm just like, man, do I just not watch movies anymore? And the answer is, yeah, probably.
I find myself watching far fewer movies than I used to.
I watch a lot of good television nowadays, but yeah, theater, rarely. So
You're contributing to the death of our society.
put something in the theater worth watching. I think we're gonna go watch Project
Project Hail
Hail.
Mary.
Yeah, I've read the
I,
book.
I
Boys
think we're
read the book
seeing
right
that
now.
on Tuesday. I think that's their plan.
Sure. So more of that. No more Marvel movies, please God. I watched the preview for the new Spider-Man movie, and I'm like, I don't fucking care.
I will always care about Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my favorite fictional character of all time. Love Spider-Man.
We're just
Um,
gonna disagree all night, aren't we? We're just
I'm just telling you. I mean, that's a fact. Spider-Man is my. I'm always going to be interested in Spider-Man, but if you let me finish before jumping on my dick, um, I'm not interested at all in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars and like all of that shit. I watched the other day just because I was like, I hate myself. I'm gonna watch the Fantastic Four movie finally. And I watched that movie. I'm like, this is so bad. Like
it
this is
was
just it's real, real bad. And I was like, man, Marvel should have ended. Everything should have ended after Endgame, and if they were going to keep making Marvel movies, because that's what they should have just, hey, we're setting on a new reality. This is Earth 819, and we're going to start everything from the very beginning again, and we're going to just focus on X-Men, and that's going to be our whole thing. They kept all that shit going, and we just wanted it over at Endgame. That was the perfect end spot for it.
I'll mostly agree with you. I was a fan of the was it the third Thor movie that came out, not the fourth one.
Love and Thunder.
Yeah, that wasn't great, but the third one was pretty good.
I thought Love and Thunder was the first one that Taika Waititi did. I don't fucking know. They're all running together. Who cares? We're not the Marvel show. Why are we talking about Marvel movies?
Because we're
Let's get
just
back
talking
to that
about
stuff.
getting out in the theater and watching it die and the reason that it's dying. So back to um Mulder wants her to take a lie detector test, so she does, but she does it in like the worst way possible. They need to set up the baseline. The guy administering it even says, I need to set up a baseline of what is true and what is false so that when things skew out of this, it, gives us a somewhat accurate reading of what's going on, what you're saying. And she won't cooperate genuinely at all, so they just roll with it anyway.
Yeah. Scully makes that great comment later on, though, where she's like, "Need I remind you why these things are inadmissible in court?" That was a good line.
But Mulder sees that, you know, there's something that skews around the time that she gets asked the question, "Did you see the murder?"
Yeah.
And that just bolsters his bullshit theories, and allows him to just jump to one thing to another. Um, they end up finding they go back to this goofy detective that's in charge of the investigations. Like, yeah, we turned that house inside out. But within like 5 minutes of Scully being on scene, she sees one of those little ancient dispose of razors here in your wall. And she scratches it off and finds like bloody gloves inside that has this blind girl's fingerprints all over the bloody gloves.
And then cue like 5 OJ references.
Oh yeah. And but you kind of get what's going on, maybe because she has another hallucination that whoever she's seeing through the eyes of is harassing some girl at a bar. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe she sees like killers that are stalking people before they kill, and that's her power or whatever. uh she ends up calling a bar and saying, "Hey, you need to hand the phone to this guy that's down at the bar harassing this girl." And she straight up tells him, like, "Leave that girl alone. I'm watching you." And he gets kind of, well, the harassed girl ends up wandering off. He's not scared shitless, but he's like, "What the fuck is this all about?" More OJ Simpson glove jokes. Um,
For the kids, why is that? Why was that such a big deal in the 90s? OJ.
um,
Who's OJ?
OJ Simpson was a man that murdered his wife and her lover at their home and got away with it. And when they went to arrest him for it, he got into this white Ford Bronco that one of his friends was driving, and they went on this like hours long highway chase that was on every
Slow
single.
speed.
Oh yeah, they were on. It was on every news channel. They didn't end it. It was good for television, and it went on for what felt like 3, maybe 4 hours before they finally, I guess, surrendered.
Yep,
But
and there was a huge court. Like that was the in the cultural zeitgeist as the trial of O.J. Simpson. He was a famous football player. He was an actor. It was clear to everybody with a working brain that he was the one that did this. But there's a glove. One of the big things is they found this bloody glove, and the prosecution did this whole thing like try to make him put it on, and he acted like it didn't fit. And then his lawyer was like, "If the glove don't fit, you must acquit." And then he got acquitted.
and then he wrote a book that was
Yeah.
titled like "If I Did It."
Jesus Christ.
He's dead now, right?
Yeah, I think he got ass cancer and died.
Ah, there's some justice in this world.
Yeah, it just takes a long time.
Yep. The wheels of justice move slowly. So yeah, God, where am I on my notes? I'm just fucking spaced out here. Uh,
She finds the glove in the wall.
yeah, and Scully posits that she can actually see that
Yeah.
she just isn't aware that she's seeing, so they want to get her tested for it. And there's this weird like they take her to it. She's the doctor's like, I don't see anything happening, but while she's in the machine, still strapped in there, her eyes actually dilate, and that's when she could see so whoever it is, and it seems to be now it's the same person she's seeing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And he it's a drug dealing guy, and he finds the girl that was at the bar, and he confronts her in an alleyway of all places. It's like, you're watching me, who are you, blah 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 blah, and then kills her, throws her in a dumpster. um Blind gal ends up finding the body after walking out of the pupil dilation piece, finds her, realizes that she doesn't want to see this shit anymore or whatever, or maybe she just blames herself for not having prevented it successfully, and then turns herself into the cops for the murders, provides all of these details about what actually happened, things that only the killer could know, so that she gets locked up.
Yeah. There was an interesting thing that I didn't quite understand throughout the first act of this episode where this detective, he's like, she's gonna walk. There's a whole sequence when the prosecutor's like, let her cut her loose. We ain't got the murder weapon. Plenty of people go to trial without a murder weapon, but the writers of the show really were like, look, if there's no murder weapon, you get away with anything. Like you just get away with it automatically, which isn't how reality actually is. Kind of drove me nuts.
Well, voodoo, man, like it's everywhere.
Voodoo.
So god, Mulder has this really uncomfortable scene where he comes back into the police station to talk to her, and he's like, I know you're innocent. I actually admire you. I want to get you off or out of this situation. When it's not the first time that Mulder has acted this way. I don't feel as an audience member that Mulder has any sort of romantic interest in this person at all. I don't think that it's ever been set up at any point of this episode, but when he's doing this thing with female characters where he feels concerned about them, it feels creepy and sexual and not compassionate like he's trying to come across as. And it always ooks me out.
I mean, that's just the David Duchovny smolder. You can't get past the smolder of his oversexed charisma.
He,
The guy admitted to be completely addicted to like porn and sex and everything. I mean, I think that's just him. That's just the David Duchovny coming out. I think whenever he talks to a woman, that's just how it is. At
okay.
least in the '90s.
I, I mean, I guess it hasn't like failed him over the years, so yeah, great. Um, the eventually the guy that murdered the girl in the alley and threw her in the dumpster is trying to complete this drug deal, but the drug dealer that he's working with is mad that the blind girl apparently called him and scared him off from the deal. So now this whoever's got the briefcase full of coke, this white guy that killed the girl in the alley is looking for the blind girl, trying to figure out, what she has to do with all of this stuff. Though it's never ever made clear how he ultimately comes to the conclusion that it's her.
Yeah.
Let me see. They point out in this episode, or some, yeah, and then we have this joke, this one-off joke that Mulder's being hella skeptical about what's going on. Like Scully and the detective are like, yeah, it's fairly clear that she did it. Mulder is not. And they tell him he's being skeptical, and he actually says out loud that he's not.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wrote this note that's like, maybe this episode, this entire episode, is being used as a vessel to further our belief as an audience that what happened a couple episodes ago where he wasn't believing anything, that maybe as a person he's coming around to being a believer again, even though he never
Yeah.
really stopped believing in this shit and jumping to crazy conclusions in basically every other episode that we have, but whatever. Uh, in Mulder fashion, he figures out that because the blind girl's mom, the drug dealer, and the random lady in the alley all got stabbed in the kidneys and died from it, that the blind girl can see through her mom's killer's eyes. And I wrote in all caps, Mulder is back, baby. Uh, he goes to her and presents as like, your mom got murdered while you were in the womb, and you can see through the killer's eyes. And she, presenting nothing more than that, the blind girl believes him.
Yeah, she does.
Uh, Also figures out that Marty is the blind girl's name. Figures out that the guy that she can see through is actually Marty's father because of the blood that he let. Why did he leave blood on the glove?
Well, I think he thought it just never would be found.
So he just bled on a glove that he stabbed some dude in.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, they go to her and say, if you help us see through the eyes of your dad's killer and get him arrested, you won't, go up on charges of aiding and abetting all of the crimes that he's been a part of. And she agrees. And then, but she asks this question, which is just for the stupid audience members. It's like, if I help you, will you protect me until he is caught? And I wrote, it's like, oh man, after that line, this chick is gonna die by the end of the episode. So they go to the, or she figure, or she spells it out, like where he lives. They said it all the way down to the matchbooks that are on the front counter, and so they go stake it out. But they somehow realized that she instead led them on a wild goose chase. Cuts back to the goofy detective cop guy is in her apartment with her. She's packing a bag to go into protective custody. And then she starts telling the cop, is like, no, he's outside my apartment right now. He's reading the name tapes on the front of the building in order to figure out what apartment that I'm in. And the goofy detective cop's like, huh? And instead of just letting him deal with the situation, she knocks him out with some sort of metal vase, takes his gun, and waits in the apartment for her dad to show up. And then eventually, she can see through, or the dad enters the house, walks right up to her. He can see, or she can see herself through her eyes, and she has some line about, I hate the way that you see me, and blasts him.
Yeah.
And then the interesting part, like what I wasn't really invested in this episode until this part of it, when you find out why she did it, why she chose to kill this guy. And it's because she had been, or this guy, her dad, had been locked up in prison for so long that she was just having constant visions of her being in a jail cell, of her
Yeah.
being in prison. And that was her life for decades until her dad got out, and then she started seeing all this shit. And she's like, she was so motivated to not be essentially stuck in fucking prison in her own head that she was willing to murder her dad for it. I'm like, okay, that is a really interesting story hook for
Yeah.
me. I wish we would have gotten to it a little bit earlier, but it did help become invested in the rest of the happenings in the episode. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
she gets visited by Mulder. Mulder has chemistry with her that I enjoyed. That's not creepy. She basically tells him, like, the last thing that I can see that she stole from her dad vision wise was a vision of the ocean, and now I get to sit in this prison cell and just see that for the rest of my life. So she's actually satisfied with how things turned out, and it ends
Yeah.
up making it a great episode for me.
Yeah. She smiles at the end. Mulder smiles back at her. I was kind of thinking, I was like, would they? Because the cut or the detective's like, she definitely did this one. You know, when he comes to after she smacks him. with the or the vase or whatever she hit him with. But I was always like, would how long is she actually going to be in jail? Is she going to be in jail forever? I mean, this guy was a murderer. He was literally coming to kill her. You couldn't just claim self defense and, you know, but whatever. I digress. I agree with you. The kind of the finale of how this all wraps up makes the episode. The vast majority of it kind of felt like a very low rent clearance rack version of Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose,
Kinda.
which is a superior version of this kind of thing where he could kind of see through the eyes of a killer, so to speak. This wasn't anywhere nearly as good as that, but it had the same kind of vibe to it in a way. So I dug that. The lady who played Marty, or I thought she was really good in it. I think she even got nominated for an Emmy for it as well. Um, you know, I don't know. I liked this one. It wasn't great, wasn't amazing, but I think I enjoyed myself overall with this one.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's talk about some fun facts. Mind's Eye was written by Tim Minear, his second credit for the series, and directed by Kim Manners. Minear was inspired to write the episode after learning about remote viewing, the parapsychological practice of seeking impressions about a distant or unseen target, purportedly using ESP, or sensing with the mind. Reportedly, the CIA spent $20 million on Stargate project, which was research project to determine if the ability exists. Munir initially had trouble conceptualizing his idea, noting it might be a good idea for a short story, but how do you make the whole thing work visually? To combat this issue, Munir decided to make the remote viewer blind. He sought to make the blind woman not Audrey Hepburn, a reference to the 1967 film Wait Until Dark, which is also a fantastic movie if you've never seen it, in which Hepburn played the part of an innocent but terrorized blind woman. He later said, I wanted to make Glenn a bitch because the fact is that disability doesn't necessarily ennoble a person. Um, okay, casting and filming. Mind's Eye guest star Lily Taylor, an actress who at the time was known for largely working in the independent film scene. Taylor, a fan of the series, appeared in the episode after asking the show's casting director, Rick Milliken, if they were interested in working with her. Blue Mankuma, who played the part of Detective Pennock, had previously appeared in the first season episode Ghost in the Machine. Mulder's line, even if the gloves do fit, you can still acquit, a reference to the leather gloves of the O.J. Simpson murder case, was improvised by Duchovny during filming. During the filming of the episode, art director Greg Lowen got into a discussion with the lighting department when he pointed out that Glenn, being blind, had no need for lamps or other lights. The department quit back, although The X Files is a dark show, it isn't that dark. The staccato and nightmarish remote visions that Glenn experiences were created in post production by visual effects supervisor Laurie Calson George. And as I mentioned, the actress, it says Mind's Eye was nominated for several Emmy Awards. Taylor was nominated for an award in the category of Outstanding Guest Actress in a Drama Series, a nomination shared by fellow X Files guest star Veronica Cartwright, which we mentioned, and editor Casey O'Rourke was nominated for Outstanding Single Camera Picture Editing. I don't think anybody won, but they were all nominated. It's an honor to be nominated. Yeah, so that's it. That is Mind's Eye, an okay episode. I guess of the four that I watched today for these past four episodes we've done, this is probably my favorite of all of them. And it was just mid to me. So I am hoping we only got four more episodes left in season 5, and I am hoping that these end great. And I actually don't remember what the finale of season 5 was leading into the movie, so there's still a lot for me to look forward to. How are you feeling with season 5 thus far, Jeremy? Are you thinking this is like a banger season, or are you kind of overall feeling down on this season?
See, I before we started this journey, I've been looking forward to season 5 the entire time.
Okay.
I thought that I remember when I was a kid, I remember what led up into the movie itself, and then the beginning of season 6 being some of the best television I remember ever seeing. Maybe at the time, the best television or watching I had ever seen. And like I was really, really looking to hit those high points, but so far, the season 5 action has been just kind of a fucking roller coaster, with most of it being shitty, shitty to a point. Not as bad as some of the low points of season 4, but it has me genuinely worried that we're we're what, 4 episodes out from the movie, 2 episodes out from the movie.
There's 4 episodes left this season, and then we roll into the movie.
I I don't know how they turn it around in enough time to be as good as Child Me remembers it was, and I can't believe that I'm actually dreading revisiting the movie in fear that it just might be fucking terrible.
Okay, well, with that, folks, hit that like and subscribe, and go on the journey with Jeremy as